For 2024, Subaru introduces the third member of the Wilderness family. This is the Crosstrek, and this vehicle gets a little more ground clearance, it gets a little more of a rugged look, it doesn't cost a fortune, which means it's not going to break the bank, it gets a lot of room and some cool tech. The Outdoor Foundation reports that 64.2 million, or 54% of Americans aged 6 and over, participate in outdoor recreation at least once a year, the highest number of participants on record, and the Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness was made for them. It doesn't only look good with these cool wheels and some Subaru Wilderness badging, and of course the name Crosstrek in bright orange written across the cladding, but this cladding is here for a reason. You drive over some of this brush in the Utah desert and it'll scratch the paint. The whole point of the cladding is the vehicle comes out as pristine as it went in. Almost 50% of Subaru Crosstrek owners carry their pets and engage in activities like hiking, biking, and kayaking. So Subaru introducing the Wilderness version makes even more sense for them. Now, there are plenty of vehicles out there in the world of off-road SUVs and crossovers that are capable of doing mild off-roading like this. However, there are a couple of things that the Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness has above them. First of all, incredible gas mileage, 27 combined. This vehicle can go quite a way on a single tank of gas. Plus, it has that boxer engine, and that gives it that low center of gravity, which means that when you get out on the gravel roads, it actually is easier to handle, it is more nimble, and when you get onto some very, let's say, gravelly and rough corners, it is easier to handle. And as you can see, throwing it around here, and it's stable, easy to position, and me and my passenger are not throwing up everywhere yet. Some of these rocks are pretty hard, and if you get one of these caught underneath the vehicle, it could puncture your oil pan quite easily. Well, they've improved the approach angle, which means as you hit some of these rocks, you actually can get in angles better and out of angles better at the back end, which means your vehicle's protected. You can climb some very steep hills and exit some very steep valleys. It gives you more fun factor when you take this off-roading. I am putting far more effort into driving this vehicle on very rough and unkept roads than you would probably use any kind of vehicle for. This would be super uncomfortable to even walk on because it's so rocky and so uneven, but I have it in X mode and it is extremely bumpy. But the raised suspension with a ground clearance of 9.3 inches gives me enough rock clearance here to actually make it quite nicely over all these rocks. And that's exactly what anybody is going to use it for if they take this camping or to some less traveled roads for outdoor activities, hiking, biking, or taking the dogs on an off-road adventure. Just because you get a rough and rugged off-road vehicle doesn't mean you have to get a stripped down vehicle. And Subaru have given you the largest screen on the inside of vehicles in its class, over 11 inches of vertical screen, and a lot of extra tech on the inside as well. Their eyesight system comes standard with this vehicle. It looks ahead with 2 cameras watching the vehicles and the road markings to make sure A, you stay in your lanes, and B, that it keeps an eye on the car ahead of you. Now, one of the features it has that I absolutely adore, because we all do this, and don't try and tell me that you don't, is when you're sitting at a traffic light and the car in front of you pulls away while you're glancing at your cell phone to see your latest social media numbers or who just texted you, it lets you know, pay attention, traffic is moving again. Some of the market research was the most telling about current and potential Subaru Crosstrek customers. 96% of them shop for a potential vehicle to get them to the outdoor adventure that has the best value for money. Starting at under $22,000 and topping out at under $32,000, this is definitely a value for money purchase.
I'm Nick Miles.